Hello, Possum's Dreyma here. Hardcore Castle. You can see I have been busy building up those walls off camera. The towers are not quite as tall as they should be, but they're getting close, and I should have put a crane back on or two, but I haven't. It's very slack of me. No, that's a tower. We want to go out this way. I want to thank all of you for your comments and suggestions regarding the crenellations. I have been doing a bit of work on that. As you can see, I've also been doing a bit of work resource gathering in the quarry. I've decided to push that back quite significantly. I keep running out of andesite apart from anything else. And yes, I am making andesite out of diorite and cobble. I still keep running out. But we'll get up here and turn around. Yeah, no troublemakers. That's the solution I came up with. So those of you who are saying the 3 blocks wide was a bit too wide, I actually think you were right. And I still think 1 was too narrow, so I've compromised and gone for 2. And I actually think that with the towers now brought up a bit, they're still not tall enough, but I think that's actually a really good width for it. So what am I up to today? Well, we've had one I've got to do Minecraft stuff episode before, and I'm just warning you in advance. This is an I've got to do Minecraft stuff episode again. I'm trying to keep them to a minimum. Yeah, I did do lots of resource gathering off camera to try and spare you, but it was do a Minecraft episode or have no episode out at all. Tell me in the comments which you'd prefer. Would you prefer to forego it for a week if I hit a point where I've got to do Minecraft stuff again? Or are you happy with seeing me, potter around doing what I have to do? That's it on the side. I'm not sure about this. I might bring that out one. Same with there. We'll see. As usual, I've got thinking to do. But what I have to do now, I want to start building some more buildings inside the inner bailey. But to do that, I need wattle and daub blocks. I've got snow blocks because I got those while I was clearing the quarry out because it had snowed down there. That was great. What I need now though, let's come up here. I need white wool and I need white concrete powder. The wool's not going to be too big a deal. The white concrete powder, we'll see. I've got plenty of gravel. It's sand, and more than sand, it's bone meal. Oh, there we go. Sheep. Now, I haven't just been building the walls. Oh, wow. That's looking really good. Anyway, I haven't just been building walls. I've also been researching, ready for the next episode. It usually takes me between 3 and 5 days to do the research and write the script. So I very optimistically started the research for the next history episode. I should have been aware that that wasn't going to happen. But I do love doing all the research. It's so much fun. I not only find out about the thing that I'm researching, but I often come across other interesting bits and pieces that I didn't know or had forgotten or whatever. Some episodes require more research than others. I mean, sometimes I can just get on. I don't really write a script. I can just talk. Hugh of Lincoln, I could talk about till the cows come home and then go out again. No problem at all. I love Hugh. Our little cheese scammer I didn't know anything about. I came across him by accident. And I'll put links in the description to the particular episodes where those guys appear if you haven't caught them already. License to crenellate, I knew a fair bit about, but looking it up again, rereading the research, that's always helpful. And, you find different things. I didn't know that full survey had been done. That was great. I probably need about 3 stacks of white wool. And even though this is castles and castles of the Norman period, true medieval rather than early, definitely out of the Dark Ages, if you still want to call them that. They were only called that because not a lot was known about them, not because they were considered to be a time of lesser intelligence or lesser knowledge. Yeah, I really like how that's looking. Wait till we get the gatehouse on. Haha. So castles, if we're talking about England, that's really the Norman period. What I didn't expect to be doing was brushing up on my Mercian. But I've actually had to go and revisit that quite a lot. Now, I'm not boasting, I'm just stating a fact. I used to be able to read and write Mercian. I've read Beowulf in the original. I've read the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles in the original, parts thereof. Yeah, I used to be able to read and write it quite well. To say that I'm a bit rusty now, that's being very kind. I'm more than rusty. But I've had to brush up because, of course, there's no hard and fast cut-off period in history. It's not like Harold took an arrow to the eye, William walked in, and suddenly everyone's speaking Norman and the Anglo-Saxon culture has died overnight and been completely replaced with the Norman culture. It wasn't like that at all. Yeah, there's still laws being made. Oh, there's another beehive. There's still laws being made in the 1300s. Thank you, sheep. Prohibiting people from worshipping the Anglo-Saxon pagan gods. Now, you don't make a don't rule if nobody's doing it. Well done, thank you. Everything is in flux, everything's transition. The Normans are just the small number of guys at the top. The vast majority of the population is still speaking Anglo-Saxon, although that morphs into Middle English, and they're still going about their lives the way they did, apart from all the restrictions they now have on them, like you can no longer take anything from the forest because that now belongs to the king. So too bad if you're going to starve. Sorry, I really don't like the Normans. I really wish Harold hadn't taken that arrow to the eye. William would have lost. He was losing. The battle was almost over. The sun was about to set. If Harold had survived that last little bit, William would have had to go home with his tail between his legs. He had no reinforcements. That was his last chance, and it was only luck that he won it all. I mean, you can say, well, strategically he did this, that, and the other, and he waited till the Danes had invaded and whatever. That's true, but he was losing on the day. Sorry, I really don't like the Normans. But no, I have had to go and brush up on my Mercian because how people think about things you can partly work out from the language that's used. Which words are surviving, which words are being supplanted, what sort of words are people using to discuss certain concepts or name certain things. And we'll get onto that in a bit more detail in a later episode when we start talking about the difference between keeps and donjons and, oh, there's a goat, and all the rest of that. Now, just for the record, I have got a lot of useless footage because every time I'm in here, if I'm working, I've got the cameras running just in case something bad happens. This is hardcore after all. Something bad happens, I've had it. So there's a lot of footage of me creeping around the edges of walls, placing blocks. There's a fair bit of footage of me running away from pillager patrols. That happens a lot. One day we will go and deal with that pillager outpost, but not this day. So should I happen to die, do not worry. You guys will get to see that last terrible moment. The other thing I've been doing is planting crops, and much as that has to be done, I mean, there's what, 580 chunks? I'll check and I'll put it on the screen. Much as there's a lot of chunks that have to be planted out as farmland, the more I do it, the further I've got to go when I need wool or leather, because it provides fewer and fewer spawning places close to the village. All right, let's see what we've got. That's the white wool. Yep, got enough of that. That's snow blocks. We definitely need more spruce. I need to go get some sand. So I think it's a trip down to the beach. Oh, I miss diamond tools with lots of enchants on them. I should make myself an enchanted shovel. Don't worry, I'm not going to run off and do that right now. Or maybe you're sitting there thinking, oh yeah, go, run off, do it. I can't stand this. Sorry. I'm not running off. I'm here now. Yeah, those crenellations look good. Happy with that. Sorry. I could look at that thing forever. So yeah, I want to brush up on my Mercian. But that led me to thinking, what about Norse? Yeah, I used to be able to read the Elder Edda and all sorts of things in Norse. It would be great to be able to do that again. The wonderful thing about reading something in its original language is you only have to worry about your biases and the biases of the person who wrote it. You don't have to worry about what was the translator doing. Is this accurate? Have they made particular choices about meanings or phrasing, subconscious or conscious, because they've got a particular perspective or barrow to push or whatever. And if you can read it yourself, you just don't have to consider that. Yeah, and I know there's the whole issue of Snorri was a Christian and all the rest of it, but he was writing down tales that he clearly loved. And is he writing them down exactly as they were told in an oral tradition? Probably not. But I still think we get enough of an idea of what it was. You know, all the Norse gods and the things they got up to, and their very, very human behaviours. And I miss being able to read that. You know, going back to the Mercian, reading Beowulf in its original version, that is so much fun. You get, shovel. You get a real sense, not just of the story, but of the poetry, of how it's expressed, its rhythm, its feeling, the imagery that they use. And I still think if you want to read Beowulf, if you want to understand what it's like as a poem, the best translation even now is still that done by Tolkien. If you want to get the genuine feel of what Beowulf is like as a poem, how it feels, that, you know, if you want a sense of the poetry and of the story, you can't go past Tolkien's translation. It really conveys all of that. Not surprisingly, it's masterful. And speaking of Tolkien, while I've been grinding for mats and fretting about andesite and all the rest of it, I have been really getting back into The Lord of the Rings. Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd, they played Merry and Pip in the Peter Jackson films, have started their own podcast. It's called The Friendship Onion. It's well worth looking up. It's them just discussing things and being themselves, and mucking about and talking about food and films and music, but also talking about behind the scenes things for Lord of the Rings and adventures they went on together. And they get other guests on, so there's been Elijah Wood and Sean Astin. Stephen Colbert, who is an enormous Lord of the Rings geek, go figure. I've also been listening to the YouTube channel Deep Geek, because he's going back over a lot of the history of Middle-earth, and he doesn't just do Lord of the Rings. He looks at the Silmarillion, the Unfinished Tales, the books and books and books of published material that Christopher Tolkien compiled and edited of his father's work. So much fun. And uncovering all those little tidbits. Actually, that's enough. All right, that's more than enough. But I can always do with extra. I'm gonna mark this out, and then I'll just take the sand out of here and I'll be done. You know, he's got, for instance, a whole video on the Blue Wizards, who they were, what they got up to. In Lord of the Rings, it's just mentioned that there were 2 wizards in blue who went to the east. That's it. But in other material of Tolkien's, you find out their names, you find out exactly what happened to them, where they came from, what they did, where they went. And I'd forgotten a lot of that, and it was wonderful just sitting there listening to him put it all back together and run through it. Yeah, even if you know a lot about Lord of the Rings, it's worth listening to his channel because it's just interesting, and you'll find little tidbits that you hadn't come across before, because he also goes through all Tolkien's correspondence too. Or you might have your memory jogged about things, or you might not agree with what he says, but it's a different perspective, and it's, you know, well, I hadn't thought of looking at it that way. So anyway, that's what I get up to when I'm grinding for mats. I listen to podcasts. I listen to YouTube channels. I've had medieval music going for ages. My kids are a bit sick of it, but too bad. Sometimes I've got headphones on and sometimes I don't. But, you know, digging in the quarry, placing blocks and fretting, you've got to do something to keep your mind off it all. Oh, there's some clay. I'll have to come down and get that. Now, gravel, I've got a lot of. So all I need now is, do I have enough bone meal? All right, let's see how we go. I've got 23 bone meal and 4 white dye, so I should be okay. Oh, then again, I didn't quite have enough. I'm still 4 or 5 short. Oh well, hopefully that's enough to at least get started. Still got to plant spruce wood. So what I have to do now is mend tools in preparation for actually making things. So that's some of the stuff I get up to when I'm resource grinding. I'm just waiting for them to queue up so I can hit them and prepare my tools. While I'm doing this, there's end cards on the screen so that you can be much more entertained and watch some more of my videos. And put in the comments what you do when you're grinding or resource gathering. I'd love to know. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.